Good morning. I'm sure to receive a lot of hate for this video, and I honestly don't care at this point. I've been gaming for a long time. I've been gaming since the 1970s, and I own my own business, and I know what it's like to be a good customer, and I know what it's like to treat customers with respect. That is something that Microsoft is not doing at this point. Microsoft is, in fact, insulting its customers. And the reason they're allowed to continue doing this is because of fanboys and corporate slaves. Now, here's what I'm talking about. Microsoft unveiled a new program called Xbox All Access. And what it is you can get an Xbox One for $22 a month or an Xbox One X for $35 a month, and you can finance it. You can pay for that for 2 years. You enter into a two-year contract with them. So, you would own the console after that 2-year period or whatever. Seemed like a great deal, right? But there are caveats. In fact, there's one huge caveat. And the fanboys and the corporate slaves are celebrating this whole idea as a great idea, and it's like revolutionary to them. But yet, they're not mentioning the caveats. And here it is, the caveat. You have to finance this Xbox or Xbox One S or X, a $300 and $500 console, respectively, through Dell Preferred Financing, who has nothing to do with Xbox. Nothing. But you have to jump through this hoop. Now, it doesn't matter how long you've been a Microsoft customer. It doesn't matter how many decades you've been buying stuff from Microsoft. It doesn't matter that you have a card on file that you've been using for many, many years and it's reliable. None of that matters. They want to go through this third-party financing company. And why do they want to do it? Greed. And they're cowards. MS are greedy and they're a bunch of cowards. And why is this? Because they're not willing, as a multi-billion-dollar company, they're not willing to take a risk on their own customer base. They're not willing to take a risk to get new customers. They're not willing to take a risk for getting the Xboxes into people's homes. And that is a big problem. I've owned businesses. I've owned my own business. I've worked for businesses, worked for corporations. I know how customers are to be treated. And you don't treat your customers like a bunch of criminals. And that's basically what MS is doing. They're treating these people with suspicion. Now, the thing is, they need to get these consoles into people's homes. They need to get them there because the Xbox brand is failing. This gen, they are so far behind. They had a problem right out of the gate with the always online DRM, and then they backed off on that. But then they've never caught up with that loss, and they never gained any steam. I love my Xbox. I do. I enjoy it. It's a great console. I like my PS4. I like my PC. But if this is the way Microsoft is going to treat their customers, then they can forget me and several other people. Who knows how many are going to walk away because of this next gen. If they're going to treat us like, under suspicion and not be willing to make a risk or take a risk on us as the customer base, then they're not worthy of our money. That's plain and simple. Now, there are so many rent-to-own companies. You can do a Google search on these people. Rent Town, Color Time, Rent-to-Own. There's so many of them. Rent-a-Center. None of them have a credit check. And they rent things out that are much more expensive than an Xbox One or even an Xbox One S. They rent entire furniture sets for living rooms that are thousands of dollars, and they don't require a credit check. Now, how is it that these tiny companies are more than willing to take a risk to build their business and to keep their business going than MS is? These companies are not multi-billion-dollar companies like MS, but yet they're willing to take risks on their own customers? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Loyal customers just don't matter to Microsoft anymore. They don't. I mean, and this has been a trend that's just been climbing and climbing, climbing as time has gone by. And now it's at this fever pitch because we have so many people that are corporate slaves now. They will let these companies do whatever they want to them, and they'll always show up with the money in hand and happily bending over. And that's a problem. And it's going to get worse until we wake up and start to realize that we have rights as customers. The fanboys are defending this garbage because the fanboys are mindless. All they see is they see a brand, they see the X or the P or whatever it is. Xbox, PS4, and whatever company they're into, Bethesda or Rockstar or Electronic Arts or whatever. And they don't see this as a problem because they're too busy brainwashed by the company. They're too brainwashed. And that's a problem. And people don't understand or realize it's a problem. Or very few people do. There's a guy called Dishonored Wolf, and he did a great set of videos on this very thing about how fanboys are ruining games. Same thing with AlphaOmegaSin I. He did a great video about fanboys and how they ruin games and how they're ruining the industry. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that explain how fanboys ruin the industry. And this is just another symptom right here. And this has caused me, a loyal customer of Microsoft for decades, to say, I'm done with you. I'm done with you, Microsoft. After this generation, console generation, I won't buy another one if I'm still alive and around, that is. See, I'm an older gamer. I'm done with Microsoft. I'm done with Xbox. They can go to hell. If they're going to treat me, a loyal customer, under suspicion and not rely on the payment method that I've been using for decades to pay for their services and require me to go through this third-party financier and add yet another revolving debt account to my already crowded revolving debt accounts, then MS can just go jump in a lake. I don't care. I'm done with them. And if you want to go and bend over for MS, you go right ahead. But this smart and frugal gamer, this person who knows his rights as a customer, will not. Have a good day.